Might not focus. All right, let's minimize here. Let's pop out the chat. We did it. Marley, gotta chill. My cat has no chill right now. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Hey Keith, how you doing? Happy Valentine's Day. Hey Jeremy. Hello, hello, my friends. Hope everyone's having such a beautiful day. This microphone, man. What's the weird? Might as well give it give it a shot, right? Did you ever find that song you were looking for, huh? Marley. If you guys hear that and it gets annoying, let me know. My cat is just getting into stuff. What are you doing? Oh, I hope everybody's having such a great day. Oof. Gonna wait a few. Hi, Bill. Yes, of course. Of course. You're welcome. You're welcome for asking. Okay. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for everybody to join us who wishes to. I'm sure people have plans today. And I'm super happy for them. There we go. I'm still trying to figure out the format for my screen. I need to get a second screen because right now I have one screen. So it has the YouTube setup, it's got my recording setup, and then I've got the chat on the side, and it's all happening in front of me. So I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do it. All right. Marley, my God. You know what? I think Marley has to find something else to do for now. Hold on. I'll be back. Hey, buddy. Don't get upset. This is Marley. Oh, say happy Valentine's Day. Say it. Say it. Happy Valentine's Day. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, buddy. Sorry, Mama. All right. Sorry about that. I would normally let her in, but she's being super invested in loud things. Yes, you've met. You know Marley. Oh, James, you there? Oh yeah, is James here? I don't know. I did talk to him a little bit earlier. Hey, Mama. He said he's still not feeling great. So hopefully he does. He said he was going to try and show up, but obviously we want James to get better. Okay. In just a few more moments, we will go ahead. Mom, did you guys go out to dinner? Yet? My father was taking my mother out to dinner today. They're at the casino right now. Like literally right now, I'm at the casino. Hope he does, but I'd rather he get rest. Yeah, me too. So you're going to dinner after the casino. See? Oh no. Nice. Where are you going to dinner? Well done, Nolan. Absolutely. Good job, Pops. Good job, Pops. All right. Drive now. Drive no? Don't know. You don't know where you're going to go eat yet? Pizza. Come on, pizza and a movie. Pizza and a movie. Tacos? These are the only two things I understand. Jumping off? Well, psh. Happy Valentine's Day, Mom. Just kidding. I love you. Not Mama. She really doesn't drink at all. Very rare. And you know you're in trouble when she does. Something ain't right. Hey, Nathan, I was talking to the cat. However, do you? I'll be back. Okay, I love you. Have fun. I hope you win lots of money at the casino, Mama. And mostly have fun. Yeah. Nobody needs it. It's true. It's true. It's funny to look back at those times, though, isn't it? Like, there were fun things, but it's like, looking back, I just laugh at myself. You know? I don't know. I think it's funny. It's funny. I think about this a lot lately, the things that change in your life. And there's this like middle bridge of it where you feel like lame. And you feel like you're getting old and you feel like what's going on? But then you realize that's not the case. You actually love this and it's just different seasons of life. And it's just, yeah, it ends up exactly how you're supposed to be. You just have to embrace it. And it's amazing. It's really cool. Life's journey is wild. Okay. I feel like these lights are really bright, right? They're like, chill. Well, I'm very happy for you. And it took me a while to realize is the call me emoji because I grew up in, I thought it was the hang loose as well. That's what my grandpapa always used to do, that little hang loose thing. So that's how I always see it as well. I never thought it was the call me. If somebody sent me that and they wanted me to call them, I'd be like, that's cool. And then it would look like I was ignoring them, that they wanted me to call them, but I wouldn't understand. That's funny. Who's ignorant? Am I ignorant? Wait, I'm missing something. I'm totally missing something, I think. Is someone being belligerent? Oh, was it the ad? You got an ad. Damn, hold on. Let me make sure I change that. No, I meant I wouldn't call if I was that. Yeah. Let me just make sure you guys are getting like the least amount of ads as possible. Because I hate that. That's so dumb. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. I think we're going to get going. So today is a little hodgepodgey. I have some longer videos and I have some shorter videos and I have some videos that were sent in. I have a video that I took and it's just all over the place and wonderful, and some beautiful little Valentine's videos too. So with that being said, we need the ads for revenue. We're getting there. We're doing it. I just like to be conservative with them because they do go overboard. They really do. It gets to be too much. And I think it's frustrating because a lot of people, some people have the premium, but some people don't. And then they're just stuck watching ads and it's just lame, you know? It's lame, especially because odds are I'm going to get a copyright strike anyway, and they're not going to let me get ad revenue. So it doesn't matter. I will work on the channel. I swear to you. I just want to also say I have some stuff going on. So tonight isn't going to be the most longest of all longest, but it's also, I may not have a show on Monday. We will see. I don't know, but I have a lot of things to do. So, bear with me. Nothing's wrong with the channel. Nothing's wrong with me. Just, I have a lot to do. So, yeah, Monday, I would just count out. And if it happens, cool. But yeah. Okay. I think we've got a bunch of our friends. We don't have our entire core, but I think we have the people who are coming. Because again, it is Valentine's Day and a lot of people do care about that and go have time with their family and do things. So I am going to get going. All right. Oh, James, not going to be able to stay because this might be the worst I've felt, but you all have a great night. I'll leave the channel open and on, but I probably won't be able to read the chat. Oh, James, I'm so sorry. I hope you feel better. We all hope you feel better. Many people have asked about you, so I hope you can feel the healing energy and how much everybody cares about you through the channel, because it's true. Very much. Yakima Maratha. All right, we're going to play the first clip, guys. First off, this stuff keeps happening and it looks exactly like this every time. Please explain.
Are you recording this? What's going on? All the lights and traffic lights is out too.
Oh my god.
Yo.
What is going on?
Yo, that's whoa.
What?
Yo, they about to...
What happened? What happened there? Yeah, James, feel better. Really feel better. I'll try and read as many of the chat things as I can, just in case you're listening if you want to hear. Yeah. So why do these things keep happening in the
Are
sky?
you recording this? What's going on? All the lights and traffic lights is out too.
Oh my god.
Yo.
What is going on?
Yo, that's whoa.
What?
Yo, they about to...
So my thing about this is if it were in a concentrated area and it was just one portion of the sky, I would say maybe on a very cloudy or foggy day, if there were ambulances and things like that, it could definitely reflect and look like this. But they are panning the whole sky and then the whole thing goes dark. This was apparently happening in Atlanta a few nights ago as well. Sky disco. Everybody just goes out and plays music. Happy St. Patrick's Day, my friends. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Looked like that, but I thought I heard thunder. That's wild. Did you get any videos? I haven't seen anything specifically like this, but I have seen so many videos like this. Yeah, it was multicolor flashing. You're right. Look at this. I have to see it again.
Are you recording this?
I'll turn it down. Yeah, it's a real glitch, a real life glitch. That's the only thing I can say. That's the only thing I can say, really. You would. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that one. I don't know. I just wanted to start with it because it's awesome. And and because I've seen it and now apparently it's happening in Atlanta, and this is just adding to the strange sky things going on between the airplanes and this, and we saw the purple sky going on in Florida. I'm really not sure what to think. Something is going on up there. William, hi. All been watching with all of you since the start of lives, but this is my first time on the live chat. Happy Valentine's Day. Well, welcome. We are so happy to have you. You are definitely in good company. We love hanging out. So, yeah. The next thing I have, I thought was really interesting, and it's about simulation reality. So, goodness, I hope you like that because it's quite a long clip. It is.
We live.
Hold on. It is like a half hour long. It's more than a clip. It's actually like a little video, but it's really interesting. So we're going to go ahead and listen. Looks like when the starter goes out in a neon light fixture. Yeah. All right. Let's go. Well, I need to get out of the way.
Live in a simulation. My name is Alltime, and today we're exploring 14 reasons why some believe we live inside a simulated reality. Now, I get that it's a pretty bold claim to say we live in a simulation, but I've brought some pretty substantial evidence that by the end of this video might have you questioning everything you know. Timestamps are in the description if you want to jump around, so let's start with the basics. What do I mean living in a simulation? Well, it all comes down to the simulation hypothesis, which proposes that what humans experience as the world around us is actually a simulated reality. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, the Matrix movies. Well, this concept didn't actually come around because of the Matrix movies, but rather was popularized by them. This theory actually dates back to the 1960s and was speculated about even back in Plato's time with his allegory of the cave. In the allegory, Plato speaks of people whose entire lives have been spent chained in a cave, facing a blank wall. The enslaved watch shadows projected onto that wall by objects passing in front of a fire behind them. To them, the shadows they see are reality. Now, we know that those projected shadows are not actual representations of the real world. But those still trapped in the cave watching the wall don't know any better. They perceive that to be reality. Socrates chimes in with the belief that the philosopher is like a prisoner who is freed from the cave and comes face to face with this reality, this higher level of understanding. Unfortunately, most people remain chained to the wall and do not have the desire to leave their prison, for they know no better life. As it stands now, evidence keeps building to support the theory that we live inside of a simulation. Over the course of this video, you'll hear a lot of evidence, but what might be more troubling is the lack of evidence against the simulation theory. Evidence that proves the universe is in fact real. In fact, we can't currently prove that all of this isn't a simulation. New York University philosopher David Chalmers doubts it's possible to prove that we don't live inside of a simulation. He says, you're not going to get proof that we're not living in a simulation, because any evidence that we get could be simulated. Meaning, if the simulation doesn't want us to know something, we aren't going to know it. Interestingly enough, the probability of us living in a simulation versus reality has actually been calculated. Thanks to David Kipping, an assistant professor of astronomy at Columbia University, and mathematics way above my pay grade, we currently sit at 50-50 odds. One half that this is the baseline reality, and the other half that this is not. Kipping goes on to say, the day we invent that technology, and that technology being the ability to create simulations ourselves, it flips the odds from 50-50 to us almost certainly not being real, according to these calculations. It'd be a very strange celebration of our genius that day. Yeah, it only gets worse from here. 1 minute isn't very long. A second is even less, and a millisecond is even shorter. But what's the smallest unit of time called? Well, it's called the Planck time. The Planck time is the smallest possible unit of time in physics, represented by this. Planck time represents the absolute minimum amount of time, as in there is no smaller slice of time than the Planck time, which leads to the question, why? Why can't it be smaller? Why is there a minimum amount of time? To put that in perspective, 1 second is an eternity compared to a Planck time. So here's where this ties into the simulation. If time were truly continuous, it would be infinitely divisible, as in you could divide it over and over and over again, but it's not. It has a minimum tick, like the refresh rate in a video game. Think of a movie. When played at 24 frames per second, it looks very smooth, but it's actually just individual images flipping really fast. 24 images per second. If time works the same way, made of discrete Planck time units instead of flowing continuously, then reality isn't smooth. It's just being updated really, really fast. In a video game, each frame is calculated, processed, and displayed. If our universe is doing the same thing, that means time is being computed rather than existing as a seamless flow. This is a direct parallel to how a simulation would function. If time were truly continuous, there wouldn't be a smallest possible unit. The fact that one even exists suggests a processing constraint, like a maximum refresh rate. A truly real universe would have an infinitely divisible time, a smooth, uninterrupted flow. But if time has discrete units, that means 3 things. 1. There is a fundamental refresh rate to the universe. 2. Time doesn't flow, but happens in ticks, like frames in a video game or a movie. 3. The universe is computing reality in steps rather than allowing it to exist in an infinite uninterrupted stream. And going even deeper, the existence of Planck time is eerily similar to how computers process time. A computer can't compute an infinite number of events in a moment. That's the logic behind programming. One step, then the next, then the next, then the next. If our universe updates reality in tiny increments, rather than existing as an infinitely divisible flow, then it behaves exactly like a simulation, which is really terrifying to consider. I mean, this changes everything. If the universe operates in frames rather than a smooth flow, that's strong evidence that it's running like a simulation, processing each moment in sequential updates. Meaning if time is pixelated, then our reality is being rendered. And if it's being rendered, then something or someone is running the simulation.
See what I mean? It's pretty interesting. And I like the way that they skip around and there are different segments to it. It's really cool. I like this video a lot. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but not everything will be. And that's fair. But I'm really excited to show you.
As we learn more and more about our world and the universe, the more it appears to be based on mathematical laws. For example, look at the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. It's found in nearly everything around us. Max Tegmark, a cosmologist at MIT, says, "If I were a character in a computer game, I would also discover eventually that the rules seemed completely rigid and mathematical, and that it just reflects the computer code in which it was written." Max's comments might sound a little out there, but over time it's been winning over other brilliant minds. One such example is James Gates, a theoretical physicist at the University of Maryland. James said, "In my research, I found this very strange thing. I was driven to error-correcting codes. They're what make browsers work. So why were they in the equations I was studying about quarks and electrons and supersymmetry? This brought me back to the stark realization that I could no longer say people like Max are crazy." A lot of brilliant minds are starting to realize that just as a video game is programmed and structured logically, our world is very much the same. As humans become more intelligent and knowledge continues to amass, the rules of our reality become more apparent. Delving deeper into the concept that our reality is structured in a very rigid and mathematical way, what are some of these limitations of reality? Let's talk about a few of them. The first is the speed of light in a vacuum, given to us by Einstein's theory of special relativity. This is essentially the speed limit of the universe. But that begs the question, why? Why is there a limit to the speed in which light can travel? If we remove ourselves from this question for a second and return to the idea of video games, a potential answer arises. Video games are only limited by the weakest element running them: an underperforming CPU, a bottlenecked graphics processor, a limitation of RAM, a poorly optimized engine, etc. In all of gaming, these weakest elements create artificial limitations. For example, loading screens, draw distance, or texture pop-in. These are workarounds that are built in to accommodate the limitations. Now, let's bring it all together. The speed of light is the maximum speed limit of our universe because reality can't be rendered in less time than that. If we were to travel faster than the speed of light, we would reach a part of our universe that hasn't been rendered yet. The speed of light is an imposed limitation to keep the reality of, well, reality. If this is indeed potentially an arbitrary number set by the creators of the simulation to keep the simulation running properly, then one can assume that we can't travel faster than that because the simulation would break, and the reality of this reality would collapse. Essentially, the game would crash. If we do in fact live in a simulation, then thoughts might not just be personal experiences. They could be inputs shaping reality itself. Think of the concept of manifestation, willing something into reality, taking a thought or desire and making it happen. This idea isn't just philosophical. It's supported by strange phenomena that suggest reality behaves more like an interactive program than a fixed objective world. Let's start with the placebo effect. The placebo effect proves that reality alone can alter physical reality, even changing body chemistry without real medicine. In many cases,
So just to read some of the comments that are going on, very good ones. This is GTA Universe that God's playing. I love that. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Redbeard does not believe in the simulation because that would mean that all of this is for you and I'm not that important. See, I don't know if I believe that that's what that means. That would imply that you were the one running the simulation, but if you're unaware of it, how could you be? So that would mean that someone else is. But just like if you play a game like The Sims or anything like that, it's not guaranteed the direction it's going to go. You make decisions and they affect it, but that doesn't mean it's not a simulation. The simulation can go in many different ways. I wouldn't say it's for us. I would say we're a part of it. John, I'm starting to think you're serious, that you think it's St. Patty's Day. You're over there waiting for your pub crawl bus. Oh, you guys are funny. I'm not an NPC for someone. Yeah, I hope we're not too. I don't know if it's as cut and dry as what we think of as NPCs being like non-people. Better break out the Coronas and grenadine. I was thinking, why didn't you put grenadine instead of green stuff? All right, let's hear. My theory is, based on my research, that we are here for a reason, to experience what it's like as humans, because we have to go through this experience many times to gain knowledge. I believe that too. But I do believe that the simulation theory has some sort of relevance. I don't know why I'm so small. I do think that it has some sort of relevance, and I'm not sure how it's all intertwined. But I do really feel like it is. But I 100% believe that we keep coming back. I believe in soul contracts. I believe we forget and we are sent back for a mission or to learn something. I believe that wholeheartedly. Happy Valentine's Day to all, and to all the Valentines that are in line wanting to be all your Valentines in the universe. That's sweet. You're a spirit in a human body. I'm definitely not an NPC. I've done way too much hero stuff and even got the girl. Look at you. That's true, you did. Not in agreement in a lot of what you say, but that was definitely 100%. Yeah. That makes more sense. We keep coming back to this realm to learn. I agree. But that doesn't mean it's not a simulation. Maybe we're sent into the simulation to learn. A la Matrix.
Is the placebo, or the sugar pill, actually created a tangible real-world change despite it not actually having the ability to do so. It's as if belief or desire itself created that outcome. Then we have the law of attraction. The law of attraction is the belief that you will attract into your life whatever you focus on. If it's positive, it'll be positive. If it's negative, it'll be negative. The way thoughts seem to attract outcomes is eerily similar to how machine learning algorithms adjust based on inputs. When one goes looking for something specific, for whatever reason, they are statistically more likely to find that something. And if the simulation operates on the manipulation of probability, then focusing on an idea might actually increase its likelihood, just like training an AI model to recognize patterns. Lastly, we have probability. Some people report uncanny manifestations, thinking of someone and then instantly getting a text from that someone, or money appearing exactly when needed. If reality was purely random, these occurrences shouldn't happen as often as they do, but they do. If reality is an interactive simulation, then our thoughts might be modifying probability from behind the scenes. So if you feel like you're powerless in this world, and that everything seems to go wrong for you, maybe it's time to change the way you're thinking. It seems as though we can actually somehow modify the odds in our favor. So is the universe just an advanced probability engine responding to what we search for? Or have we discovered a backdoor into the simulation's code? I really don't know, but I hope
maybe the back rooms are really that.
you find what you're looking for. Recently, a friend and I randomly had a conversation about Princess Diana. Later that day, a person I had never seen before or since just so happened to walk by wearing a Princess Diana shirt. Was this simply a coincidence? Just an extremely rare and remarkable circumstance without an apparent causal connection? Perhaps I only noticed it because I talked about her earlier in the day. Nevertheless, coincidences like this stand out, and I'm sure all of you have experienced some of them yourself. Now, is this evidence of the simulation updating to more closely align with our thoughts and preferences? It's like when you learn a new word and then you hear it everywhere, or you get a new car that you've never had before and then you see it all over the place. The amount of coincidences humans come across is, at the very least, questionable. It strikes me as odd that so many coincidences all occurred on this single planet. We're perfectly safe in the habitable zone, with the perfect mixture in our atmosphere to sustain us. Here's another one. During a total solar eclipse, the moon lines up exactly with the sun, obscuring it completely. That doesn't sound too remarkable or coincidental, until you realize that the sun is 400 times larger than the moon. And amazingly enough, the moon is 400 times further away from the sun. It's mathematically stunning that it aligns so perfectly. Or what about the fact that when water freezes, it becomes less dense? Again, this doesn't sound too remarkably coincidental, but the fact is, this detail has allowed all life on Earth to survive. Water covers most of the Earth, and chemically it is one of the strangest. Other substances get more dense when they are frozen, but liquid water is the opposite. Because of this, when water turns to ice, it floats. Why does this matter at all? Well, if ice didn't float, but instead sank to the bottom, all water would eventually have frozen over and killed all life within it. The multitude of ice ages this planet has gone through would have killed all life in land and in water. Our evolution would have completely changed or not happened at all if not for this strange detail. Another example is how the single highest point on Earth, Mount Everest, amazingly enough has the lowest oxygen levels that human life can tolerate. It's as if it was exactly measured out to perfectly allow for humans to climb it. Now, I could go on and on about the interesting coincidences and synchronicities that our reality has to offer. So let's instead end this section with one more personal example of mine. It was about a sushi knife. I've never owned one of these tools before, nor did I know they existed, until I randomly had a dream about finding one in my kitchen drawer. Waking up, I thought, that's weird and random. I wonder if that thing's real. Now, this thought never left my brain. I didn't say it out loud. I don't watch any cooking shows. I didn't search up any dream meanings. It was just a dream and a thought. Well, later that day, I got an ad on Twitter for a sushi knife. I can't explain this. How did I go from never hearing of, talking about, or using an object to dreaming about it and then getting an ad for it? This is something I did not know existed until I had a dream and I thought it was something I made up. I honestly have no idea. The world has so many strange coincidences and synchronicities. It really makes you wonder. Here's a reason to consider the simulation hypothesis. Think about the incredible advancement of technology. In just the past few decades, we've seen unbelievable growth in the field of computer science and virtual reality. This advancement is called Moore's Law and was proposed by Gordon Moore, one of the co-founders of Intel, back in 1965. Essentially, he discovered that the number of transistors on a microchip will double roughly every 2 years with minimal rise in cost. This has held true for decades and has exponentially changed the world around us. What was science fiction has become science fact. Think about it. Semi-autonomous robots, artificial intelligence creating full songs, videos, and photos, completely simulated digital worlds, advancing graphics every few years. The world of technology is rapidly improving, and at a certain point, we're going to have to ask ourselves, why couldn't we create a simulated reality in the future? What was completely unbelievable 10 years ago is nothing now. What's it going to be like 50 years from now? 1,000.
So go ahead and pause right there for a sec, read some comments. Yes, this is our little corner of the internet. Let's see. So is this my simulation or yours? I don't know. It may not be either of ours. We just may be in it. Yes. Let's see. Coincidentally, my best female friend saw Deb. She loved her as soon as she saw her, and then more when she spoke, then more when she saw her strawberry sweater. I do love my strawberry sweater. Let's see. The challenge in understanding isn't technical, but in spiritual and moral. Yes, I agree with that. Thanks to everyone being in my simulation. I agree. Debbie, I feel like you're just messing with my brain with this video. I feel attacked. Well, I felt attacked by your comment. Mine. LOL. Who's laying in a pod here somewhere? I don't know. There's so much we don't know, and I think it's going to be really crazy, and we're probably all going to laugh when we find out the definitive truth once it's right in front of us, once we, after this lifetime, gather ourselves in whatever comes next. And in my mind, that's basically you go to this big room and all the people that are your soul people are there, and you meet back up and you slowly remember, oh wow, this is home. And I think that once that happens, we're gonna laugh at how confused we were and how much time we spent trying to figure it out, because it was always that. I'm more of a Snell's Law kind of guy. Go on. What is Snell's Law? I'm not sure laughing will be a thing. No, I don't think that. I don't think laughing in a like a mocking way. I think laughing at ourselves for just that we forgot, just that, oh, we've done this so many times, and it's just kind of funny that we keep forgetting, and we always will. That's my opinion, but of course, who knows? All right.
Consciousness is defined as the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings.
Oh my God.
It's one of the most familiar parts of all of us, and yet also the most mysterious. Since the dawn of time, philosophers have asked, what is the purpose of consciousness? Why do we need consciousness? These deep philosophical questions have challenged the greatest minds throughout history, and thanks to the simulation theory, we might actually understand its purpose and why we need it. Consciousness is an interface between the self and the universe using all of our senses. The only reasonable explanation for consciousness's existence is that it is there to be an experience. Keep in mind that consciousness doesn't provide an evolutionary advantage that we know of, so what is the purpose of it? Either there is a role of consciousness at work that we don't know and haven't theorized yet, or the experience that consciousness provides is a function we serve, as in a product we create, an experience we generate as human beings. We are the ones creating this experience, and that is what consciousness is. Now, this is where things get uncomfortable, and again, if you're kind of lost, just stick with me. In philosophy, a qualia is defined as an individual instance of subjective conscious experience. Put simply, a qualia is the breeze of wind against your face, the taste of water, the excitement we feel when great news happens, as well as the fear created by bad news. All these experiences of consciousness are what we produce, and an individual experience is called a qualia. As I mentioned earlier, consciousness is something that we create that is not necessarily for us. Who do we create this product for? Who receives these created qualia algorithms that we produce? We don't know. But what we do know is that we are creating this consciousness, this experience, and that we apparently don't have any use for it. So the only logical next step is to surmise that this product serves something else. Which begs the unsettling question of who or what is this product for? If you haven't already made the connection to the simulation theory yet, let's break it down in the simplest way possible. When you are playing a video game, let's say Grand Theft Auto, is the character in the game you're playing as experiencing qualia, or is it ourselves? They do what we want them to do, and they act out the actions that we tell them to do, and by extension, we are gaining an experience through.
Is this GTA? Is this GTA? Did we just say that this is God playing GTA universe, and this is what they played? Is that real? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Them. That is the qualia. They aren't gaining it. We are. The video game character goes through an experience, but their experience is very different from the experience we, the player, receive. That space between the character in the game and us, the player, exists in this gray area where experiences of the player and experiences of the character combine to form some type of consciousness. This is what the simulation theory believes consciousness is. Consciousness is that strange connection between us, the guiding voice in our head, and the experiences we live and feel on a day-to-day basis. It's the product we produce for whatever is on the other side of the simulation. That product that we produce, we have a very similar connection to that in games today. It's extremely rudimentary, but we are already seeing technology begin to blur the boundary between us. When riding in a roller coaster as a character in a VR game, we feel the gravity of the roller coaster. But where's this gravity coming from? It isn't real, and yet it is. It exists somewhere in the space between the character that is riding the roller coaster in the game and our minds occupying the mind of the character. The gray space between us, that is consciousness. It's easy to imagine how in the future this experience will become grander. More experiences, more feelings, more qualia generated. For us. Video games are a $1 trillion industry currently, and this is all based on the small amounts of qualia we experience from them today. Just imagine the future 10 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. The demand is there, the desire is there, the money is there, and the interest is there. It's inevitable. Based on the simulation theory, the simplest explanation for the existence of consciousness is that it is an experience being created by our bodies and actions, but not for us. Just like a video game, we create incredible outputs of sensory experience, qualia generating machines. And just like a video game, our input, our product, is most likely for the benefit of someone or something else experiencing our lives through us. Another interesting concept is the brain in a vat thought experiment. Let's say a mad scientist knocks you out and removes your brain from your body and places it in a vat. The vat is filled with life-sustaining liquid, and the mind is connected to a supercomputer that provides its simulated experiences by inducing electrical impulses identical to those your brain normally receives. It's an outlandish thought, but remember, this is a thought experiment to get you thinking. So your brain is nourished and your mind is stimulated. Your brain is functioning just as it normally would, but instead of being inside your skull, it's inside of a vat. If this happened, you would have no way of knowing that your experiences were not real, as your brain would be receiving the same inputs as though it was your normal body. This thought experiment illustrates that our subjective experiences could be entirely simulated without us even realizing it. And honestly, who knows? We could be living out our lives right now as brains in a vat, as we currently have no way to prove that we aren't. DNA is a self-replicating material that is present in nearly all living organisms. DNA is, in simple terms, nature's hard drive, capable of storing, replicating, and transmitting massive amounts of information.
I love that thought. DNA is nature's hard drive. It's true. It's all of our coding. It's literally our coding. It's incredible. I like that thought process.
Everything from your physical features to your likelihood of dying from a certain disease. It's the incredible secret behind life, and for as much as we know about it, there is still so much more that we don't. Researchers in New York incredibly found a way to use DNA like an actual computer's hard drive, by successfully storing, replicating, and retrieving several digital files. And no, this isn't a joke. These scientists were able to transfer real-world information into binary code, and with the help of a DNA constructing startup company, they were able to implant that data into DNA as well as retrieve it. Amazingly enough, this means that DNA is not only storage for biological data, but in fact a form of digital storage for any data. It is estimated that 1 gram of DNA can hold up to 215 petabytes, which is equivalent to 215,000 terabytes, or 225 million gigabytes. Essentially, DNA is the world's greatest storage device, and we are walking around with massive hard drives of data and legacy within us. DNA is, in a way, our own personal memory card for whatever this game of life is. But it somehow gets even crazier from here. That data and information that they were able to place inside of and retrieve from DNA wasn't all they tested. In fact, they also placed malicious computer code into those physical strands of DNA. Their aim was to show that computers working in gene sequencing were vulnerable to attack, and that a malicious code implanted in DNA could in fact attack those computers. But they might have also inadvertently revealed that what we perceive to be biological reality is in fact computer code. Our very DNA has the capability of carrying malicious computer codes and viruses that can infect other computers and perhaps even one day other humans. It really makes you wonder about all of this. Life, existence, the simulation theory, the very thing that constructs us, the DNA inside of our cells, can store and run computer code as well as viruses? What exactly are we? Are we nothing more than advanced computer code in a simulated reality? How could a simulation possibly be run? Think about it. The amount of energy required to render something this vast and detailed must be tremendous, almost unfathomable. Thankfully, we have the numbers to look at it. We know that a single gram of DNA can store 215 petabytes of data, which is equivalent to 215 million gigabytes of data. But let's take this further. If DNA can store our data, what about the world around us? To render all this reality, we're going to need far more storage than the massive amount stored inside of us. Well, now we have a super compelling theory of how to simulate a simulation. First of all, you need to understand what a quantum computer is. Don't worry, I'm going to make this as simple to understand as possible. So imagine regular computers as chefs who cook one dish at a time following a recipe step by step. Now think of quantum computers as super chefs who can make many recipes simultaneously and quickly figure out the best combination of ingredients. Regular computers use basic switches called bits. These are like light switches that can be either on or off. But quantum computers use qubits, which can be both on and off at the same time, so they can be in two states at once. Because of this, quantum computers can explore lots of options at once, which can make them incredibly fast at solving specific problems that today, with regular computers, could take decades or hundreds of years to figure out. The current issue is that controlling these quantum bits is still a little bit tough. It's like trying to tame a wild horse. Scientists are currently working hard to figure this out because once they do, it could lead to a whole new era of super fast computing. Now let's tie all this into the simulation hypothesis. In 2017, a pair of physicists authored an article that revealed something truly incredible. Using the computational approach known as Quantum Monte Carlo, or QMC for short, led to the discovery that QMC had the potential to simulate a quantum computer. So what does this mean? Well, the argument they built was that even the mere storage of data, a few hundred electrons, would necessitate an absorbent amount of computer memory. So much in fact that it would surpass the total number of atoms in the entire universe. All this to say, the data that makes up our reality, our world, our lives, is possible by use of the storage in atoms. Meaning everything existing today could be simulated data, and we now have a possible explanation for where that data is stored. In the atom.
The atom.
John Wheeler was an American physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project, the hydrogen bomb, collaborated with Einstein, and even invented the term black hole. But what I'm talking about today is that John Wheeler made the groundbreaking observation that rather than everything being a particle, everything is instead information. In 1990, he suggested that information is fundamental to the physics of the universe. He called this it from bit. What this means is that everything in the physical world has, at the very bottom, an immaterial source and explanation. I know that's wordy, but what that means is that truth is something created rather than objectively apprehended. Reality, beliefs, perception, that is the truth to everything in his opinion, and ties directly into the simulation theory. This potentially simulated reality is controlled by you and everyone around you.
I totally agree with this. I absolutely agree with this. We talk about this all the time, that it's all about perception. Your perception changes everything. You could be in the exact same situation that you're in right now. And if you just think of it differently, it will be a whole different experience. There could be something, it could be something like sitting in traffic. There are people who will let that ruin their entire week, not just their minute, not just anything, like not just their day. Or somebody has like road rage and they're driving crazy or, you know, tailgating you or something like that, and you could get really, really angry and you feel like a flare up inside your chest of anger, you know, and then it could stick with you and just eat away at you, that you wish you could have confronted that person and blah, blah, blah. And you could allow that to happen. Or you could be in a car with your friends and somebody does this and you just get away from them because it's unsafe. And then you guys just laugh about what a psychotic person that was. And it's just a funny story you tell later. So those are two of the exact same scenario that you created. You created that reality. You create your reality all the time. Every time you make a decision to be happy or sad or grateful or negligent or loving or angry, you choose that. And the situations that happen in our lives are all triggering, good, bad, whatever. They all trigger or elicit some sort of emotion within you. And I feel like we think there's no control over that. I feel like we think that if you're angry, you're meant to be angry because it's an angry situation. But I just don't think that's true. You can let yourself feel the feelings. That was frustrating. But maybe change the language, you know, maybe it wasn't angry, be more specific, because anger is like a blanket. And maybe it was really just frustrating. So you can take that aggression down a notch and deal with the frustration and move on. I don't know. So we were talking about change your thought. You have to change your thought process. Exactly. The atom is so like the size of our solar system. Its elements and planets are as large as one another, depending on what your perception is grounded from. Yes, exactly. It's exactly as I was telling that story about the ants and the moss and all of that the other day. The perception of the ants is, you know, versus us. Most people walk around and don't even really pay attention to the ants living an entire life right at your feet. Crazy. I choose reality. That is reality. That is absolutely reality. Choose to let things go. Holding on to anger is not worth it. Nope. Do you have free will? Or is it already? No, I think we have free will. I think we have free will. For sure. I do, but I think I think we all have destiny too. But I think that the choices we make are choices that lead us to it one way or another. So it's very tough. It's just one big choose your own adventure book. It sure is. And the cool thing is we are free to change our lives anytime. Anytime. Totally have free will. Absolutely. It can be mind-blowing to start thinking that if it's all pre-planned, you don't have free will. What I think is that you can make your journey as difficult for yourself or as smooth as you want. That's what I think. I think your destiny is your destiny. That was a Forrest Gump moment. Because life is like a box of chocolates, huh, Mom? I still have a Choose Your Own Adventure book. I found it in a bookstore a couple of years ago. I love it. Every action has a reaction and consequences, good or bad. Amen.
The world is literally what
Rabs.
you make it. He believes that reality is what we accept as true. And what we accept as true is a reflection of our beliefs, which are shaped by our perception of the world. Essentially, the truth is a mixture of what we believe and what we perceive. It's the same way you have an entirely different worldview than someone else. You both exist in this world, but perceive and believe in totally different things. Your reality is true, but so is theirs. Reality is what you make it, and it's what we accept as truth. Here's some direct quotes from John Wheeler. Someday surely we will see the principle underlying existence as so simple, so beautiful, so compelling, that we will all say to each other, how could we all have been so stupid for so long? He continues, I don't know whether it will be in 1 year or a decade, but I think we can and will understand. That's the central thing I'd like to stand for. We can and will understand. I do take 100% seriously the idea that the world is a figment of the imagination. Some people may not like the idea that we live in a simulation, and I get it. It's a disturbing and troubling concept. They may argue that if we live in a simulation, and therefore our lives don't have meaning, I just don't agree with that. Whether reality is real or simulated, the life you are experiencing is real, and the thoughts and feelings you are having are valid. Even if we are nothing more than sim characters for someone else, that something else is still here with us. Our experiences are shared between us and them. Really think about that for a second. There is honestly no one closer in all of existence than them to us and us to them. An experience is still an experience, whether it actually happened or not. If it made you feel something, well, then it was real. Do we truly have control over our destinies? It's a hard question. If this is all simulated and everything around us is controlled and manipulated, why would they not do the same to us? Is any character in a Grand Theft Auto game free to make their own decisions? I don't think so. But if there was a way to break free, what would it look like? Can we ever truly be free? Or is free will an experience in imagination and not something that actually exists? Interesting stuff to think about. There's a video game that came out quite a few years back by Telltale Games called The Walking Dead, and it had one of the most powerful and memorable stories ever made. It followed the story of a man named Lee who took care of a young girl named Clementine during the zombie apocalypse. The storytelling, characters, and experience that game delivered was such an incredible high. Thinking back on this experience after doing so much research into consciousness and the simulation theory, I can't help but make the connection that we as humans are trying to create our own qualia, our own connection to a simulated character. These developers and storytellers are trying to create consciousness for ourselves. We are building our own simulation to give us what we ourselves produce. Let's talk about the information catastrophe, a concept discovered by Dr. Melvin Vopson. Every year, humanity creates 10 to the power 21 bits of information. That's a lot of information. Our planet has 10 to the power of 50 atoms. This is even more information, and this includes everything that makes up our planet, the atmosphere, the ocean.
When I hear things like this, 10 to the 50 power, I just feel like, how did we figure that out? And how do we know that's all? I don't know. There are certain things about this topic that I am unable, thus far, I'm still working on it, but I'm unable to wrap my head around, and I wish that I could, but yeah. There are just some things about it that I don't know. And I don't know if it's because I don't believe it or if it's because I'm just really having trouble comprehending it. I don't know. All right.
The biosphere, everything. The information catastrophe is that the growth rate of digital information we are producing is about 33% year on year, and we are not deleting any of it. At a
You have
20%
to.
growth rate, we are going to make more bits of information than all of the atoms on the planet in 340 years. At that point, we will overtake the number of atoms on the entire planet with digital bits. At a 50% growth rate, we will exceed the number of atoms on the planet in 150 years. This information catastrophe will mark the point at which the maximum possible digital information has been created, as well as the maximum power at which to sustain it. The digital information production alone will consume most of the planet's power capacity, leading to ethical and environmental concerns. We are literally changing the planet bit by bit, and it's an invisible crisis. The number of digital information seems truly unstoppable. Dr. Melvin Vopson says that the theoretical endpoint we are going to hit, if we don't do anything, is what led him to the conclusion of the simulation hypothesis. We've been creating these digital bits for half a century, from the 1970s onward, and we have already created an astronomical number of bits. If we continue to grow at this rate, it really makes you wonder, could it be that maybe we are already in some kind of digital virtual world? It's as if there is a limit to the amount of data the simulation can handle or render, and at this rate, within the next 150 years, we're going to reach that limit. What happens? Think about the time scale of the Earth. It's been around for billions of years, and we've never even come close to meeting this information threshold. Only now, within the last half a century, has technology advanced so rapidly. We are dashing full speed to a goal that potentially was never meant to be crossed. Our rate of advancement is staggering. All this within about 50 years. Looking at all this, it's not far-fetched to assume that an advanced civilization, or even ourselves in the future, could reach the technological level needed, where we can simulate our world or the whole universe in an indistinguishable way from reality. Let me hear all your thoughts below, and if you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and click the bell. Until next time.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So many things to ponder. Eh? All right. This one is interesting. I'm not sure if you're going to believe it, but this guy supposedly works or worked at Area 51, and he's got pictures, and he's really old, so I kind of believe him. That's a foot.
Now notice also, this is the body of an alien, and where we have 6 ribs that are connected together, they have 3. And the total height is less than 5 feet. And they still look like this, not like you and I.
That's an alien, apparently. Can you imagine? And you know, back in the day, what he did is he took these pictures and he took his little roll of film to Walmart. Yeah. And he gave it to him and he's like, don't mess these ones up because sometimes they do. And then you go back in a few days and you go pick up your pictures and somebody saw these when they developed them and thought, Halloween? I'm not sure. Is someone saying that this alien is so cute? He is kind of cute. He has like a quite endearing face. Jason, I normally don't trust people with 2 first names, but you're a good guy, my friend. You guys are so funny. Wish I could show y'all the mask I have. That would be a fully grown alien like that one. Really? So does that mean that we think these are not true alien photos? The foot one kind of got me. Look at that. I'm not sure what to think about this. What do you think about this? I'm really curious. I believe it too. But the foot really bugs me. A little. It looks kind of like a human foot. If he had 3 first names, he'd be a serial killer. Yep. You can always add one. Or what if you just add Mr. to the beginning? Mr. Jason Bryan. That's serial killery. That can be like an insult to people. You're one name short of a serial killer. The photographer needs some practice. Yeah, well, maybe it was a rush. You added Michael for a while. David. You guys. You guys, look what I found.
I thought I had heard about all the worst cults, but I was not prepared for what this cult believed. This is Cheryl Ruthven, and she is the leader of a cult that's been described as a doomsday cat cult. This is coming from the new investigation discovery show, The Curious Case of, but Cheryl told her followers that if they didn't adopt as many cats as possible, they wouldn't be let into heaven. So followers were adopting up to 30 cats each, and they were paying Cheryl for the cats. And mind you, her followers really believed in her because she told them that she was holy. She had said that she was Mary Magdalene, but that's just because she watched the Da Vinci Code and really liked it. But one follower, Mary, who was adopting these cats, thought that the money was at least going to a good cause. But then one day she realizes that Cheryl got a boob job, and a lot of the money they were giving to Cheryl for the cats was going to her plastic surgery, and now they were just stuck with these cats. Cheryl also told Mary to meet her at the church one night alone and that they should be in convent together, but to do that they had to kiss. And mind you, Cheryl was running this whole cult as an anti-LGBTQ leader and was married to a man. Honestly, this whole story is so much wilder than I could ever explain in a video, and if you want to see the whole thing, you can check out The Curious Case of the Doomsday Cat Cults on ID and stream on Max.
So yeah, right after this I'm gonna be DMing this lady and see how much money I need to give her. Because, you know, I'm in. Deb loves cats. She loves every kind of cat. She just wants to suck all of them, but she can't. That's so funny. That was the first comment I think you ever posted on this channel. Anyone check out Elon's mom before? Yeah, all animals, really. I have a thing for the voiceless, for kids, for animals, for anybody who needs to be protected. I feel very strongly that it is our job as people who can protect them to do so. That's what I believe. I just love this so much I had to put it in. Oh, that's right. Yeah. But the cat thing came pretty quick after. Remember that video her friend sent in the comments? The world needs protectors. The world needs them. And we have to stay focused. Because the voiceless are under attack. We all are, but they are so vulnerable.
So Leute, ich wollte es jetzt auch mal ausprobieren.
Check this.
Okay. Ich habe jetzt hier so ein Stück Schnee genommen.
Snow.
Stimmt genau wie das Feuerzeug. Das gibt's doch gar nicht.
Das schmilzt nicht und riecht einfach nach Plastik.
Why?
Krass, hätte ich echt nicht geglaubt.
Stellt mal weiter oben, dann muss er nicht schmelzen.
Nicht nur in dieser verfluchten Nacht.
Nee, weit weg sein.
Why it no melt? Why it no melt? Okay, please. White Rabbit is going to explain this because we've seen a few of these and John knows the answer. Let's go. You had some of this out there too. Lost one of my outside babies last night to what I'm pretty sure is bird flu. No, he was a bird catcher. All the symptoms matched. Y'all watch over your furry. No. Oh my gosh, John, no. I'm so sorry. Ugh. How devastating. My heart. I'm really sorry to hear that, John. Sending you just positive energy and protective energy for the rest of your buddies, because that's so sad. Yeah, everybody watch out for your furry children because, again, under attack. I'm so sorry, John. It snowed here today. I'm trying this. And his name was Jake, the cat from outer space. No, oh my gosh. How old was he? Yeah. Big Big one giant hug from 30 people here right now. Of one big hug your way. Poor Jake. It's because she's using a candle, so the wax leaves soot on the ice. When the ice melts, it won't just drip. It actually gets sucked up by the ball of ice based on density. But wouldn't it eventually melt because it's fire and it's hot? 2.5, just a baby. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I buy what you're saying, John. I totally do about this. But I'm a little... I just feel like eventually, like, it's not at all melting. And it seems like it should a little. Shouldn't it? Tried to melt it with a lighter. It still didn't melt. Yeah. Oh, you did that. You tried it? Oh my gosh. She used a lighter or a hot poker or something. Did you know 3 years is average lifespan of wild cats? Yeah, but that's only because of predators and disease, honestly. It's really upsetting. She used a candle. But it's still hot. I thought the heat is what melted the ice. I believe you. I totally believe you. I don't know enough about this, but I know that this seems to be a thing that's happening. So if I tried it with a lighter, because it's not a wax candle, that would work more effectively, you're saying? Or like a torch lighter or something? Does anyone here know the old movie Cat from Outer Space? One of my favorites. Have watched it at least 100 times since I was 5. I know someone who probably did. My mom tried to melt it with a lighter and it still didn't melt. I mean, people are getting this stuff tested and it has all sorts of things in it. The aluminum and whatever other metals. So then I guess my other question is, okay, it created the soot from the wax and all of that. But will it then get hot? If you just put this over it and you're saying it shouldn't melt, will it eventually get so hot that you can't touch it? Torch maybe, Bigs have soot too. So soot stops burning? Light it from the side and it will drip. They have tons in Canada, so now here. Yeah. Cool. I've heard of the Cat from Outer Space. I have heard of it, but I don't know that I've seen it. It's a Disney movie. My brother's probably seen it, and he certainly knows about it. Snow in Canada melts with a candle. But you're probably holding it on the side, like he said, so you're getting the full side of the flame rather than the... I really don't know. Makes me want to go try. Do it with an alcohol-fueled flame. Fair enough, John. Not completely clued up on all physics, so I don't know. I don't know either. What if we put it in a pot and put it on the stove? Would it melt? I'm sure it would. Nope, just like that. And that's what I thought would happen. But to be fair, I've never gotten my water... Well, I've gotten water tested, but I've never gotten ice tested. I live in New York, so I'll do some tests next snow and get back to everyone. Cool, thanks. That's awesome. Yeah. So, we have 2 videos of crazy stuff in the sky sent in from our dear corner. One is just me, but one is from Jason. So this was in the UK a couple of weeks ago. Check this out. I would imagine the sun melting it too, but... Check this out. We're going to watch it a couple times. It was snowing here too earlier, but it's belting now. Oh, really? Okay, check this. Look at this. This is in the sky. Obviously, it's nighttime, so it's difficult to see. This was prior to being videoed. This was moving in the sky, and then it became stationary. And it's actually, look at it. Look at that. Look at the way it moves. What is that? Look at that. This is a fantastic video. It wouldn't come through at first, and I am so glad we stuck with it to make it happen because this is mint. Look at that. What is that? What is it? Can I zoom in anymore? Flashlight. Mom, it's in the sky. It's like a thing in the sky that was moving around. Looks like a star through a telescope, but it was with the naked eye with the cell phone. An old flip phone dad cell phone. Need to zoom out. Okay. Here we go. But you're not going to be able to see it properly, but I will zoom all the way out and show you. Right here. So here's you can see the lights down here of the city, the town lights down here. See? And then above it, that. And it was moving. It's huge. And it was moving around. And then it stopped right there and started hovering around. Old night. It was moving a lot and then just hung out there. So I videoed it. So the part where it was moving was not captured. How long did it last? Did you see it until it disappeared? Or was it just there for a very long time? It was probably too cold to stand out there forever. But yeah. Oh, well, the other stars, if they are, well, it's in the UK, so it's historically quite cloudy. It's not exactly the middle of nowhere. I mean, it is, but it isn't. So you don't really see the stars as well all the time. But this just stood out. Look at that. I mean, it's huge. That's just huge. That's incredible. That's one of my favorite videos I've ever seen. Watched it for a while and then went to the gym. When I came home, it was gone. Yeah. He was just hanging out, watching stuff. This is something. This is definitely something supernatural. There is nothing normal about this at all. I've seen many strange things in the skies of Texas over my lifetime. Jason, he doesn't have a flip phone. I just mess with him that he has a dinosaur phone. Just watched it for a while. Oh, we got that. That's awesome. Yeah, I was so excited to put this in. I got it I meant to put it in the other day. Totally forgot. But it's back. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I was so excited to show you this. I couldn't wait to see what you think. It's amazing when you zoom out. I just want you guys to be able to see it. That's why I zoom in. Huge. Here's one that I took yesterday. All right. This is standing right out here, right there, looking over the forest. Check this. There are two lights here. I don't know what they are. They are certainly not planes or anything. There is nothing out here. There's one here. Obviously, there's two. I didn't even see the second one at first. I was just busy looking at this bright one. It's weird. It is weird. And at first I thought it was coming towards me. It's not nearly as interesting as the other video, but look at that. It could be drones, but why are drones out in the middle of the night like this? Look at that. There, maybe we can see what it looks like super close up. Yeah, man, I got a flip phone too. You capture stuff too. Look at this. It's like blue. Ah, Keith, thank you so much. I appreciate you. It's amazing to me. Look at this. Oh, I keep clicking stuff. I don't know what it is. I have a crappy UFO vid. If I can find it, I will offer it up. Yeah, town. Yeah. Love your videos. You capture some cool stuff. Thank you. I saw one up close about a football field away, as big as a 2-story house, dull metallic with indentations, football shapes coming over the hill, headlights caught it crossing in front of us. Whoa. Looks like the Brown Mountain Lights in North Carolina. Super grainy. Yep, I know. Isn't that great? That's me. I took it. I'm a professional photographer. But I took it with my phone and it was kind of hard to do and it was freezing. But yep. Flip phones for the win. I did see an SR-71 near Wichita Falls, Texas, back around 1991 in the sky at sundown. It was so wild when it hit the gas and the sonic boom and watching it disappear in 1 second was something else. That sounds like it. That sounds like it. Keith, thank you. You need coffee mugs if I know anyone. I know. Well, James is kind of helping me with all of that stuff because he's the artwork person, but he's been ill, so I've not harassed him over it. Let's not forget, had quite a bit of July 11th, 1997, 1:15 a.m. Are you trying to imply that's when this video was from? Oh, John, you got your I know I will, I swear. I swear. All right, so this one is another video. Okay. This one's a little long too, and I'm gonna wait. I just want to see like a couple people say if you want to see a long one. I have this one, and then I have 2 Valentine's Day clips, and then that's all that I have. So if you want to see this, I think it's like 20 some odd minutes. We don't have to, but if anybody wants to watch it, I don't know how long we want to be here. Like I said, I have some stuff to do, but this is actually one of the first major UFO stories that broke, and it kind of coined the term and brought awareness to UFOs. It's from a very long time ago. Hug John, I've lost animals, never forget, but I really feel, I miss them and they miss me too. Yeah, we're all thinking about you, John. We can't stay long, Deb. You guys just sort. Got this. 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not, and both are equally terrifying.
Montreal is widely considered the most haunted city in all of Canada, and there's a reason for that. Layers upon layers upon layers of history, of course.
Today's story, however, is a little different from your normal, everyday haunting. The city is generally considered to be a landmark for UFO sightings and paranormal activity.
There are more sightings of UFOs over Quebec than in any other Canadian province.
I want you to go back to the time of your vacation in Montreal.
It was approximately 112 miles from Montreal. We were driving from Niagara Falls through Canada.
September 19, 1961 has the first really dramatic and well-publicized case of alien abduction.
The more that you learn about it, the more incredible it becomes.
As the story goes, on September 19th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving home from their honeymoon in Montreal. As they drove through New Hampshire's White Mountains, they said they were followed by what felt like a spotlight.
It's late at night. Betty sees this unusual light that seems to be maneuvering.
This light stopped in midair directly in front of us. The car motor stalled, and at that point, I realized that they undoubtedly planned to take us on board.
And then the next thing is that they're 35 miles down the road and they have no idea how they got that far down the road. It turns out they were missing 2 hours.
My wife decided, well, we should notify someone, and we thought of notifying of the military base located in this area.
A radar had detected something unidentified and had reported it through channels inside the Air Force.
They had tracked an unidentified craft at 2:14 a.m., just about the time we estimate that the UFO left.
This case did get a lot of behind-the-scenes attention from some very interesting scientists. They wanted to know what happened to Betty and Barney Hill.
They developed a series of nightmares, and as a result of that, ufologists told them you should be regressed hypnotically to try to see if you remember more. And he played the tapes for us. They are terrifying.
Captain, what is he? All right, that's all.
Something very traumatic had happened to them.
We're gathered together tonight to hear an extraordinary story. One of the most fascinating stories in the history of man. Barney and Betty Hill are two of many Americans who claim to have seen an unidentified flying object, and two of perhaps 100 who claim to have been aboard a flying saucer.
It's one thing to say that you've seen a UFO. It's quite another to say that you've been on board one.
I think everyone in the country has heard about Betty and Barney Hill.
The Hills encounter becomes the first widely publicized credible report of alien abduction in history.
They've been called the Adam and Eve of alien abductees. They set the standard. Their case is the one that really started it all. The prototype for what has become all too familiar throughout the years for fans of science, science fiction, and otherworldly encounters.
The Hill case has become a classic example of alleged extraterrestrial contact with human beings because it contains elements which are still the subject of heated debate among UFO investigators all over the world.
The Betty and Barney Hill case is like Area 51 in the legend of aliens, as high as that. Once you have smoked the gateway drug of Area 51, this guy's waiting behind the middle school to give you something a little harder that will get you addicted for life.
It's really sort of this historical event in history.
Those images of poking, prodding, gray creatures, Betty and Barney brought them to the forefront.
Do you think that E.T. would look the way that E.T. looks without Betty and Barney Hill?
No.
In New Hampshire, where this took place, there's actually a sign, an official historical sign.
Whether you believe this happened or not, there's no denying that it is part of pop culture. Thus, it is historically significant.
It was just an ordinary day in America. Betty, a social worker, and Barney, a U.S. postal employee, were driving home after their honeymoon in Niagara Falls. A trip they would never forget.
Both were active in the civil rights movement, worked with the NAACP. Their status as an interracial couple, not exactly an easy one in those times. They were well-educated and well-regarded, two affable, intelligent people who just had needed a break. Barney decided a trip through Montreal and Niagara Falls was what the doctor ordered. They didn't have a ton of dough to their name, but they were going to make the best of it. They didn't forget their dog, however, Delcy the Dachshund, who they just adopted 6 weeks prior to go take the vacation as well.
Betty and Barney had a wonderful time in Niagara Falls. They spent the following afternoon in Montreal. They thought about spending the night downtown, but they heard that there was a hurricane whirling up the coast.
September 19, 1961, my husband Barney and I were in Montreal. We heard on the report that a hurricane was coming up the coast and probably would hit our hometown of Portsmouth. So we decided to return to Portsmouth, get there before the hurricane.
That journey from Montreal to Portsmouth, New Hampshire should have been around 5 hours. Now on the road home, and unbeknownst to them, this sudden change of plans would change their lives forever.
They were on their honeymoon?
Yeah, they were on their way home from their honeymoon.
Yeah, I had no idea about that part of it.
Yeah, I had no clue.
So we went to the customs and we stopped in Colorado, and then we asked for the
When we, traveling south on Route 3, arrived in an area called Lancaster, New Hampshire, Betty called my attention to an object or a star that she had been watching.
I suddenly saw a new star in the sky. And as I watched it, it became bigger and brighter. So we stopped the car again to get a good look at this.
Betty had never seen a satellite before, so Betty wondered, could this be a satellite? But then she thought, no, it's not behaving like a satellite.
She then passed the binoculars to me and said, well, you must really look at this satellite because it's not behaving as we would expect.
It's clear at this point this was not a satellite. It does a circle. It seems to fly away to the west and then come back directly towards them.
Barney is coming up with the other explanations. Maybe it's a passenger jet.
At first, Barney suspected the object to be a commercial plane en route to Montreal.
And surprisingly, this began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed. Well, this caused me to become quite alarmed. I felt uncomfortable to see this, so I returned to the car, and so did she, and we drove down the highway.
Privately, he knew that this was unusual, but he said to Betty, "Don't even think about that, and let's get home."
Up until now, the sighting had been at quite a distance, but now that they've driven down the road several miles, they look up, and it's still there.
As they continue driving south, Betty notices the air.
I just want to say, this is terrible. I'm going to interrupt us. Does this guy not look exactly like...
commercial plane en route to Montreal.
Nicholas Brendan, or no, Brendan Fraser, sorry.
And surprisingly, this began coming in my direction at a very rapid rate of speed. Well, this caused me to become quite alarmed. I felt uncomfortable to see this, so I returned to the car, and so did she, and we drove down the highway.
Privately, he knew that this was unusual, but he said to Betty, "Don't even think about that, and let's get home."
Up until now, the sighting had been at quite a distance, but now that they've driven down the road several miles, they look up, and it's still there.
As they continue driving south, Betty notices the aircraft appears to be stalking them.
It knows that we're here. They're thinking this has a particular interest in us. There's no other cars on the highway, and this light is getting brighter and it's getting closer.
As they looked at it, it flew in a zigzag pattern, and then it appeared to bounce back and forth in the sky like a ping pong ball. Betty said to Barney, "It's coming closer, Barney."
Barney starts to panic.
Well, from this point, I was getting quite frightened. They could obviously see us on the ground with the lights of the car on. I thought they were playing a game with us out there.
It followed us for approximately 30 miles, and then in an area called Indian Head, it left the top of the mountain, came out over the highway, and stopped mid-air on the highway right in front of us.
And it was at this point that the disc-shaped craft started hovering silently.
On each end, two fin-like wings extended each side with a red light, creating a W shape with the flatter disc in the center. In the center, a row of windows that he could actually see into lay across the narrow side of the disc. And what he saw was even more bizarre. I'm going to quote Barney for what happened next. Quote, "I shook my head and turned away and looked back and said, 'Oh God, it's there. What is this thing?'"
I know.
Barney freaks the fuck out. He jumps back in the car. He's like, "Betty, we gotta go. They're gonna get us."
He ran back to the car. He was speeding down the highway to avoid capture.
They're actually Mulder and Scully. He's in disbelief and doesn't want to see it, and she's waving to them. She's Mulder, he's Scully.
And as he began to take off in the car, the ship once again swooped overhead, this time directly above the vehicle.
Betty rolls down the window and stuck her head out to look at the craft. Betty's not giving up on the craft. She seemed to be more interested in it than Barney is at this point. Barney just seemed scared.
Attempting to lose whatever was with them, Barney then made a random turn off of Route 3 onto a smaller road. Soon, the car began to vibrate with a rhythmic buzzing tone.
She starts hearing this rhythmic sequence of buzzing and beeping sounds. And apparently while they're hearing these beeping noises, Betty and Barney Hill start feeling a strange tingling sensation passing through their bodies.
There's something shifting in the car.
I don't know.
Oh.
How strange.
They start coming back to their senses and start coming back to reality, and they realize that they somehow traveled 35 miles south, and they really had no memory of how they had gotten there or what had just happened in the prior 2 hours.
It was at this moment beeping when your memory returned. It's a time previous to this that you can't remember.
Yes, Dr. Simon, that's right.
I see.
In my experience working with these cases is that partly it's the subconscious mind blocking some of these memories and then bubbling up to the surface. And partly it could be the alien beings are programming people not to remember.
When they finally arrived back home, they believed they made it home in time, just after 3 a.m. as expected, but were more than surprised to see the sun begin to rise as they did make it home.
About the clock, you said you glanced up at the clock as you were undressing.
I saw that it was 5 after 5. Didn't register. I don't think Bonnie realized it either. Neither one of us realized till months later that it was that late.
That was all the Hills could remember about the incident when they finally arrived home, but they both had an uneasy feeling that there was something more.
They each went inside, leaving their personal things on the porch, and took a shower before going to bed, determined to worry about it in the morning after a stressful and scary ride home.
Wasn't that strange, Bonnie? Whatever it was.
Betty, I don't want to talk to anybody about last night, all right?
All right.
If you want to talk about it, we can just talk about it to ourselves.
The next morning, after they awoke, they realized things were a little off.
Betty and Barney noticed that the clocks on their walls in their home were no longer working, and they noticed that none of their watches were working either. And that was just really the first of the sort of odd things they started noticing. The next thing Barney noticed was that the strap to his binoculars was torn, and he had no idea how that had happened. He also noticed that a pair of his nicest dress shoes somehow got all scraped up. Betty picks up her clothes that she wore the night before, and as she was putting her dress away in her closet, she noticed that it was torn at the hem, zipper, and lining. And she said there was even a pinkish powder on her dress as well.
She also realized that she was no longer wearing her blue earrings that she was wearing the night before.
So those were missing as well. And to top it all off, when Betty and Barney went back out to their vehicle, they noticed that there was multiple shiny concentric circles on the trunk of their car, which had obviously not been there the prior day.
And there were these strange, shiny spots on the back of the car. I finally got Bonnie to come out and look at them.
Barney refused to speak about the craft initially, and proposed rather they both go into separate rooms, and each of them draw the craft before they discuss it, as he was convinced that maybe they hallucinated, and if they both drew different things, then this would put his mind at ease.
Is this the drawing that's like popular? The one that's like in every story about them?
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately for him, they were both incredibly similar. It's at this point that Barney actually wanted to drop the entire thing. He wanted to keep the whole thing to themselves and never to speak of it again, worrying it would ruin their reputations. This was the 6th.
No Diddy party. What? No Diddy party. What's that? What? Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate you.
And again, their relationship had already brought tensions to their lives, and whatever had happened that night before had clearly shaken him. But Betty fully disagreed and felt like she needed to reach out to someone.
So by the afternoon of that day, after they've been making all these discoveries, Betty decides to call her sister Janet.
I was 13 years old and I had arrived home from school in the afternoon. My mother was on the phone with my Aunt Betty, and I heard my mother's side of the conversation. When my mother hung up the phone, she told me that Betty and Barney had seen a flying saucer up close. I was in shock. I thought this was very, very strange.
It was suggested to Betty and Barney Hill that they call the local Air Force base about their encounter. And here is the official U.S. Air Force report. Their testimony of the sighting is recorded. It's regarded as a strange incident. The subject of the report is unidentified flying object. The report states that radar did indeed pick up an unidentified flying object that night.
The Air Force has confirmed that a UFO was tracked on radar in the vicinity of New Hampshire's White Mountains on the night of the Hills abduction.
It also states that while there are some inconsistencies in the story, Barney Hill's, quote, honesty and seriousness appear to be valid, but there was no official final conclusion as to what they had seen that night.
Major Henderson's conclusion was revised 3 times after his initial conclusion that they had simply misidentified Jupiter, from an optical illusion to a temperature inversion, with the final conclusion being insufficient data.
About 6 weeks later, Bonnie and I had gone out in the evening, and when we came home, on the kitchen table was a pile of dried leaves.
Piled onto their kitchen table.
What?
Naturally, they checked the doors, but they were all locked and unharmed.
And when I went to clean up the pile of dried leaves, there was my blue earrings I was wearing that night.
There's a fucking pile of leaves and an earring, like the aliens came in like, uh-oh, we forgot to return the earring.
That
Quick,
is such a
pile it under the leaves. They'll never know.
strange detail.
Months passed, but life was not the same for the Hills. Barney suffered recurring headaches. They were tense, upset, couldn't sleep.
After the alleged abduction, for a time being, Betty and Barney tried to keep it quiet. After a while, they shared their experience with people at church. As much as they tried to keep it quiet, a reporter for the Boston Traveler tracked down the story and published it a few years later. And at that time, they really became internationally known.
A Boston reporter picked up their story, and readers went crazy to learn more.
And it ran for 5 days on the front pages of the Boston newspaper. I went on TV. I was questioned by F. Lee Bailey and had lie detector testing. And I had very, very high ratings for honesty and truthfulness.
Hello, which one have I got on the line, or have I got your both?
You have us both on.
Oh, how wonderful. Hello, that's you, Barney?
Yes, that's correct.
And Betty, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Now, as I understand it, we have to go back to 1961 to start this whole incident, don't we?
Yes, that's right. September 19th, 1961.
Barney ended up taking a leave of absence from work. He had developed high blood pressure, bleeding ulcers, post-traumatic stress disorder, wasn't able to sleep. He was very traumatized by all of this.
He wasn't responding to medication, so his doctor sent him to a psychiatrist. So he referred us to Dr. Benjamin Simon in Boston.
Dr. Simon interviewed Betty and Barney separately and together, and then he began 6 months of separate hypnosis sessions.
Dr. Simon uses a then revolutionary technique known as hypnotic regression, a process by which Betty and Barney are put under a trance and then are encouraged to recall memories that are not available to the conscious mind. In sessions lasting over 6 months, Dr. Simon uncovers shocking facts about the first ever modern account of an alien abduction.
And then I pulled over to the side of the road, and I looked toward the sky. It looks like a big pancake. I drive, and Betty is still looking, and she says, "Barney, they're still following us. What do they wear?"
Under hypnosis, Barney remembered that the reason why his binocular strap was torn was because when he ran away from the approaching UFO and got back into the car, he had torn it.
Audio recordings of hypnosis sessions reveal the frightening moment when Betty and Barney are taken.
I believe this is a flying saucer. I can see it tilted toward me.
I just have to say, no wonder he became a big star.
I don't know where we are. I don't even know how we got here.
They took me and carried me up this ramp. God, I was scared.
They're taking me up to the object. Yeah, I don't want to go on it. I don't want to. I don't know what's going to happen if I go on it. I don't want to go. I go up the ramp. Can I go inside?
They're saying to Betty, there's nothing to be afraid of. We only need to do a few simple tests. You won't be harmed. And then you'll very quickly be on your way. She kicks the one who is beside her and this tears the hem on her dress down. They regain control of her, and she is taken into an examining room on the craft.
That's where Betty meets someone she calls the Examiner.
Betty also displayed a considerable amount of emotional distress during her capture. In fact, it was so bad that Dr. Simon had to end one of the hypnosis sessions early because Betty was screaming in pain.
Yeah, these days for days, look at my face. And I'm crying and I tell her it's hurting.
Dr. Simon was astounded by Betty's hypnotic recall of the alleged abduction, mainly because Barney told him essentially the same incredible story in a separate hypnotic interview.
One of the men examined his spine with a tool and began counting his vertebrae. Barney also stated that he heard them speaking in a mumbling language that he had trouble understanding. Now, what's interesting is that they also were asked to sketch out the beings, and it definitely looks exactly like what we call gray aliens.
The leader, I would say, was my height, a little taller than I am, and I'm 5 foot. They all had dark uniforms. I shouldn't say uniform. All had a one-piece dark clothing on. They were bald, no hair, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and no ear, we could say. Very large eyes, very small, flat nose, thin slit for mouth.
This was kind of the first time that we'd ever seen quote-unquote gray alien actually looked like. It was all based upon Betty and Barney Hill's recollection of what they looked like.
But after the experiments, or whatever they were, things became surprisingly more congenial between Betty and her captors. He also showed her a map of where they traveled in the galaxy, which Betty recounted.
Among the most intriguing and notable details gleaned from the sessions was Betty's hand-drawn star map. The sessions enabled her to recall the image in such great detail that she was able to draw it on a piece of paper.
There it is.
This is the map you drew.
Yep.
This is amazing, because how much did you know about astronomy?
Not a thing.
The image was shown to numerous astronomers with the hope that one of them would be able to identify the constellation. Unfortunately, no one could.
Astronomers became fascinated, for what if the map corresponded to a pattern of real stars from an alien viewpoint? Astronomers reasoned that the majority of star systems likely to have life-supporting planets were located in the obscure southern constellation of Reticulum. Yet 3 stars in the cluster were unknown until 1969. No astronomer on Earth knew their position in 1963. But that same year, Betty Hill drew a map which contained these undiscovered stars. Astronomers at Ohio State University requested a computer to put them in their correct position out beyond the incredible double star system of Zeta Reticuli 1 and Zeta Reticuli 2, 220 trillion miles, 37 light years away from Earth, looking toward our sun. And the computer duplicated with virtually no variation the now famous map of Betty Hill.
Now, if you know anything about alleged alien species, the Greys allegedly come from the star system Zeta Reticuli.
Noted astronomers Carl Sagan and Stephen Soter believed the similarities between Betty's star map and Zeta Reticuli to be nothing more than a random alignment of chance points.
But after all of these hypnotic sessions were over and seemingly all this was behind them, Betty and Barney Hill went back to living their regular lives.
When Barney Hill heard the playback of the tapes, he said, "I felt so overwhelmed and relieved. Parts of my life that were missing had been added to again. Parts of my life were being put back together."
Their story and the information that they recalled in those hypnosis sessions were eventually released in this big long report. And from there, a ton of books were written, endless films and movies and TV shows as a result of this. There was just a ton of media that came out of the Betty and Barney Hill story.
There's a James Earl Jones version of this that exists. Are you serious? I'm telling you, there is. I've seen it.
The UFO incident, 1975.
75?
That's pre-Vader. On it. The Hills' story was eventually made into a 1975 TV movie starring James Earl Jones and Estelle Parsons, titled, ironically, The UFO Incident, which Betty Hill and Dr. Simon both did press for upon its release. By that point, Barney had died of a cerebral hemorrhage in 1969, at a young age of 46. Betty would go on to become a fixture in the UFO circuit and always enjoyed telling her tale to those who would listen. Those who considered her one of the originators of the alien abduction legend. She passed away in 2004 at the age of 84.
There's a lot of controversy surrounding this event. Regardless of what did or did not happen that night, their story is one that has become a big part of UFO lore.
According to a Gallup poll taken in 1966, only 7% of Americans thought that UFOs had otherworldly origins. This is contrasted with a public opinion laboratory poll taken only 20 years later, where 43% of respondents said that they thought UFOs were vehicles used by extraterrestrial space travelers.
This case, after all, is the ground zero of the alien abduction phenomenon. If you were a skeptic, you would say this is the case that led to lots of copycats. And if you're a believer, you'd say this is the case that encouraged other people to speak out because they felt that maybe they weren't alone with this after all.
Yes. Something clearly happened to them. Or like a thing happened, couldn't tell you what it was.
A lot of details. I'm just like, if they made this up, that's a lot of really specific detail.
No, that's the thing, you need these details. They were like, you think they're in the car and they're like, okay, I'm gonna tear the dress. We'll throw a stain on there. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna buff the exterior of our car. I'm gonna ruin our car.
But who's to say they didn't have that damage from the day before, the day prior?
Do you think that in the whole of their trip of Montreal, she's walking around with a ripped, stained dress?
What if in Montreal, maybe something else did happen? Maybe they were part of a crime. Maybe they perpetrated something. That was the evidence from the crime that they committed, and they blamed it on aliens.
Why are you so gung-ho on making these people horrible human beings?
It's exciting that way.
And aliens aren't exciting?
I'll even read you a little bit of the analysis done by Matthew Moniz, who is a scientific analysis director, and he analyzed the dress sample from Betty. He said that the dress showed a form of degradation that is consistent with high UV exposure. Now, what's interesting about this pink powder, too, and this has been actually investigated and tested by 5 different laboratories, and they've determined that the actual powder, or whatever the substance is not of organic origin. You guys will have to let us know what you think about the Betty and Barney Hill story. Do you believe it or do you not? I don't fucking know. That's my answer. Right? I don't fucking know, and I don't think any of us will ever know whether or not that story is true.
I have no doubt that maybe something bad happened to them, but is that something because of aliens? That's where it gets a little hokey for me.
Oh, I'm really torn. I don't feel that I have enough evidence to say absolutely yes, but I also don't feel like I have enough reason to say absolutely no. I don't know.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Obviously, there's an answer here that I think is pretty obvious. Salty cracker?
No, I don't want to say yes or no, Matt.
Me neither. It's a really tricky, and happens all the time with conspiracy stuff. You get your reasons for, you have your reasons against, and ultimately sometimes it just comes down to what you want to believe.
Who knows? The only thing, we will never have objective truth about what happened in this scenario. We just can't. It's impossible. The fact that they found their piece is what, obviously the most important. All that really
matters, yeah.
What do you think? Were the Hills really abducted, or was it all made up?
Whatever the reality is, the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill captured the nation, inspired countless movies and books, both nonfiction and fiction, and for better or for worse, had a huge impact on science fiction and UFO research.
May the Hills always be remembered for the courage and bravery they displayed in the face of adversity. Not only were they true pioneers in the civil rights movement, they served an integral role in bringing much-needed legitimacy to the field of UFO research. May their lives forever serve as a reminder to always keep an open heart and an open mind, and may they rest in peace.
Oh, that's so sad. Maybe they didn't die. Maybe they just got abducted permanently now. Because they were such good proponents of it. They spread the word and they've earned their place on the ship. Okay. Next, we have having a Discord is fun, though. Can continue the conversation. Definitely no Discord for me. Yeah. I don't have one. I have not had one. I've not used it. Tried getting on Discord. It's really messed up my phone bad. Wish I could get on there, but I don't think I can. There's got to be something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So the next 2 clips are Valentine's clips. So if anybody hates Valentine's Day, it's not the time. So we got 2. Oh, wait, first, but wait, what did we think of the documentary? I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was amazing. It was exactly what I thought. When I found these people and I was looking at documentaries, obviously I did not watch this whole thing. And I was a little nervous because not all documentaries are created equally. So I kind of thought, well, this could be a lame one. And I initially got a different one. I pulled a different one. And something told me to keep looking. And I'm so glad that this is the one. So glad. Someone who makes me very happy. Ready? Check this.
Hi, who are you? Can I see Lila? Oh, you want to see Lila? Yeah. Lila, someone's here for you. Hi, Lila. Happy Valentine's. Hi. I'll come with you. What is all this? Happy Valentine's. Welcome. Thank you, that's so sweet.
How adorable is that? Is that? I couldn't even. He's so sweet. He showed up in his little suit with his little flowers. Oh my God. He asked for her. She came down. And you know how little kids are so... Wow, Robert's had some bad experiences. It's like little kids are so funny because in moments like this, I feel like sometimes there's one little kid who's all about it and the other kid's always like weird or embarrassed because everybody's around and stuff. But the mom was just like, can I hold your flower? Do you want to hug him? I'll hold your flowers. And she gave him and they... I hope they stay together forever. Either way, that is just so precious and made that girl clearly feel so sweet. Christine, my daughter is glued to the boy. She's only 2, so cute. Oh my gosh. That is so sweet. So many keys on this board. God, what are we going to do with you, John? Oh, I was cute. You're funny. I understand your joke. Hold on. I've got something really important to do. That kid's gonna be a Riz master someday. Yeah. I met her eyes. Sorry. No, you're fine. You're totally fine. So let me go back and read. My daughter is... Gotta ask Jason, feet on the ground. John, you're funny. He gets it. I won't. Yes, you will. Okay. Now this adorableness. Get ready for your heart to just straight up explode. Hold it in. Let's wait a second. Keep it in. And let's go.
You ready? Yeah.
How cute. How cute. That's adorable. That's all. That's all. Anybody here an agent? Agent of what? Agent of what? All right. We did it. We did the whole thing. The whole thing. We did it. I liked this one. Oh, John, really? That's amazing. That's sweet. Oh, yeah. Well, I am definitely a molder. I actually have a little stuffed fox named Fox, and I have this Halloween decoration that I leave out all year round, and it's a dog that sits at dog size, and it has a sheet over it, and it looks like a ghost dog, and his name is Spooky in honor of Mulder. So I'm highly influenced. Agent of Chaos. Oh, let's see what's going on here. Something's happening. She sang it to me when I was young. Sign her up for a contract. Used to play flute at school. Band as a kid. Sounded like that Titanic parody music. Let's see. Mulder the Goat faux show. Yep. My dog Spooky. Never got an instrument. What? That's okay. Not everybody's into music. I totally get it. Well, I don't, but I totally understand that everybody has different interests. I'm sure you do something awesome. Secret agent. So I kind of liked the format today where we had not necessarily a super long documentary, but we had two smaller ones. And then in between, we had those other little clips. I thought that was a cool little hodgepodge. I'm pretty proud of this one. We had tons of amazing conversations. Forgot there was a chance you can bring your guitar with you. I'll bring the ukulele. It's much smaller. But yeah, probably. Carry on. If there's ever full disclosure and aliens come to meet us and we meet them in person and maybe make appointments, I'm going to dress in my Men in Black uniform. I support that. Play the guitar behind you. Where are we going? Perfect. Fair enough. Miss most cause work stuff, but I live the life overall. Alive. Thank you for being here. I definitely appreciate everybody who took the time. I know it's 2 hours. It's kind of a long time, and it's Valentine's Day too. So, or St. Patty's Day for some of us. I'm glad you liked the format. I liked it too. I thought it was a nice mix, especially because we had some like of our clips that we sent in. Plus we had, yeah, I liked it. I'm with it. Second best St. Patrick's Day ever. Oh, that's amazing. That's a high honor. Super high honor. I think this is my favorite. Oh, your favorite episode. Really? I liked it a lot. This was a lot of fun. It was so effortlessly easy, but it was fun. You guys are amazing. We talked so much. I can't wait to see how many comments we have. I wonder if I can see. No. Views, chat rate, concurrent views. I don't know how to tell. Let's see. I don't know how to tell. Chat rate. I don't know what that means. I don't know, but it's been a lot. It's awesome. Great conversations. All right. Oh, don't you dare. Okay, we're not doing that tonight. I promise. Single dad of an 11-year-old boy and 2-year-old dog needs something to do on Valentine's Day. It was perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you liked it. I'm glad it was something that you could do. I'm just gonna let you do the I'm just gonna let you do it. Go for it. Does your shirt say Reebok? Are you sporty? Sporty Spice, man. I just like Reebok. Remember when Reebok was like everywhere? I just think it's cool. I did play some sports. I did do that. We had Valentine's Day yesterday. I forgot. Oh, we're ahead sometimes. Oh, well, that's cool. I'm glad we didn't have to eat into your day. Right. Any last words of the night before I have to get back to other stuff? I just want to say I hope everybody has a great night. Everybody has a great night. And I hope that John is okay over there. Deb, I sent you a YouTube site to look at. Did you get it? I'm not sure. I will definitely check. Have a good one, Deb. Always good. Yeah, that's awesome. I love you guys too. I'm actually as I mentioned at the beginning, I'll mention it now because I'm not sure if everyone's here. There may not be a show on Monday, but there will be. I will get back to it next week at some point. I just have a lot going on. I'm in the process of moving, so there's a lot to do and a lot going on. So I love you, Mama. Happy Valentine's Day to you and Pops. Oh, thank you. Thank you guys. You are so kind. You guys are so nice. I just hope you all have a fantastic day. I all hope the rest of your day is awesome. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Great, Deb. Thanks for being the best. We understand. You guys are the best. You really are. That's like in moving, I said, obviously the things that are most important and first that I need to move are my everyday things that I need, my pets, obviously, and my podcast stuff. I was like, I really don't care about anything else. I'm going to take my pictures, my box stand, and it's just podcast stuff. That's what matters. That's all that matters. Well, it won't let me text you anymore. Guess maybe text me. Oh, you mean the chat? But I got that. This live was great. Thank you, John. Please drink water. You have not yet told me that you drank water, and I just feel like I need to hear that before we can go. Sorry about the other night. I was out of... I know it was. That's why there's no hard feelings at all. I know that was... I felt you were very triggered, and I felt very bad for being the one to do it, because obviously I would never, ever, 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 ever want to do that. So please don't even ever bring it up again. That's not even a thing. That's not how it is here. We are family, and we can argue, and we can be mad, and we can get over it. And that's how it works. Night White. I love that. Yes, Mama, please go enjoy your night. Or are you home now? It's 9 o'clock, so they're an early type of people. If you don't get it, where do I send it again? I forgot. It's realdebontheweb@gmail.com. Oh, the wand. She's right. Ready? We're going to go ahead and conclude this episode like that. Moving far away. Not too far. HVD2U2. Mom. You have to bring it. It's important. Wait, what do I have to bring? I'm so confused, Mom. You can't confuse me like this. Oh, the wand? Oh, well, definitely. It's a part of it. I don't think it would work without it. What's the time there? Here it's 3:45 a.m. Oh, yes. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Where are you at 3:45 a.m.? Right, Deborino. Busy. You have things to do. That's right. And I have to eat something. Wonderful weekend, everyone. 8:47. The time here is 8:46. so I'm going to log off now because it's been 2 hours and this has been fantastic. You get so mad when I don't eat. It's cute. The Middle East. Oh, wow. Yeah, 3:45 in the morning. You must be exhausted. Exhausted. No, 8:46 p.m. on Valentine's Day, 2/14/2025. Adios. Ski? Mom, you're not in Finland. What? I'm not moving to Finland. Are you in Finland now? I didn't get the instructions properly, but that might work for me. Gotta go, Deb. Love this live stream. Yes. Enjoy your night, Keith. So glad you're here. Oh, no, yes. He said the Middle East. I thought you were telling me you're in Finland. I'm like, Mom, we should have made these plans better. I am not prepared. Yeah, way better for sure. Okay, I get it. Thanks. Hope you have something to eat. Oh, I will. It's next on my list. I'm starving. Oh, cool. Finland. That's cool. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Spiral. Yes, I see that now. All right, everybody. Have a great night. I'm signing off. I hope you just have the best night. I hope everybody feels better. Please take care of yourself. Yes, I saw I was wrong. I confused it all. Love you, Mama. Love you, Papa. I love you guys. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, my friends.